Right now, you are bored. Maybe not at this exact second. But today, at some point, you felt it. That restless, hollow, slightly itchy feeling that something is missing. That you should be doing something, anything else. You probably reached for your phone. And here is what nobody ever tells you. That feeling, the one you've been running from your entire life, may be the single most important sensation the human species has ever experienced. Boredom built civilization. Not ambition, not fear, not love. Boredom. And the moment you understand why, you will never look at a blank afternoon the same way again. Here is the strange thing about boredom. Every animal on Earth can be idle. A lion sleeps 20 hours a day. A crocodile can sit motionless for weeks. A sloth barely moves at all. None of them appear to suffer from it. None of them seem to need to fill the silence. But you cannot stand it. Sit in a room with nothing to do, no phone, no book, no window to stare out of, and within minutes your mind starts clawing at the walls. Researchers at the University of Virginia, led by psychologist Timothy Wilson, ran a simple experiment in 2014. They put people alone in a room with nothing to do for 15 minutes. The only object in the room was a button that would deliver a mild electric shock. 2/3 of the men in the study chose to shock themselves rather than sit quietly with their own thoughts. Let that land for a moment. You would rather hurt yourself than be bored. This is not a modern weakness. This is not a symptom of smartphones or social media or the attention economy. This is ancient. This is wired in. The question is why? Why did evolution build you this way? Why would natural selection reward an animal that cannot tolerate stillness? The answer starts about 300,000 years ago. Your ancestors lived in small groups, maybe 50 to 150 people, moving across landscapes that were both abundant and unpredictable. Most of the time, survival was the job: hunt, gather, build, defend, sleep, repeat. But sometimes the hunt ended early. Sometimes the rains came and nobody could travel. Sometimes there was simply nothing that needed doing. And in those gaps, something extraordinary happened. Instead of resting, like every other animal, your ancestors started doing things that had no immediate survival value whatsoever. They painted on cave walls in complete darkness, crawling hundreds of meters underground with nothing but a small flame to light their way. They carved figures out of bone and ivory. They arranged shells into patterns. They invented musical instruments. They told stories that went on for hours about things that had not happened and might never happen. They filled the silence. Anthropologist Miriam Hadel, who studies early human cognition, describes this as the development of what she calls a cognitive web, the ability to connect unrelated ideas across time and space and create something new. Other animals solve immediate problems. Your ancestors started solving imaginary ones. They started asking, what if? What if we could cross that river? What if we stored food before winter? What if there is something on the other side of those mountains? Boredom was the engine. The restlessness you feel when there is nothing to do is your brain running a search. It is scanning the environment for something unresolved, something incomplete, some problem that has not yet been solved. In a world of constant physical threat and immediate need, that search almost always finds something useful. But remove the threats, fill the belly, and that same restless search starts reaching further. Into the abstract, into the imaginary, into the future. Psychologist Sandy Mann at the University of Central Lancashire has spent years studying what boredom actually does to the human brain. Her research shows that boredom does not turn your mind off. It turns it inward. The brain in a bored state shows dramatically increased activity in a network called the default mode network, the same regions that light up during imagination, creative problem solving, and dreaming. In other words, when you are bored, your brain is not resting. It is preparing. Think about where your best ideas come from, not in front of a screen, not in a meeting, in the shower, on a long walk, staring out a train window. These are not accidents. These are boredom in disguise. These are moments when the noise stops and the default mode network comes online and your mind starts making connections it would never make under pressure. Every major leap in human civilization can be traced to someone who had too much time and did not know what to do with it. Isaac Newton was hiding from the plague. He had been sent home from Cambridge when the university closed in 1665. With nothing to do, bored and isolated in his family home in Woolsthorpe, he invented calculus, developed his theories on optics, and began laying the groundwork for his laws of motion. All of it in roughly 18 months. He later called it his miracle year. It was a bored year. The ancient Greeks had slaves to do most of their labor. This gave a small class of citizens something radically unusual for the ancient world: free time. Lots of it. And what did they do with that time? They invented democracy, philosophy, theater, geometry, and the foundations of Western science. Not because they were smarter than everyone else, because they were bored enough to think. But here is where it gets uncomfortable. You live in a world specifically designed to eliminate boredom. Your phone delivers an endless stream of novelty, precisely calibrated to keep your default mode network from ever fully switching on. Every moment of potential silence is now filled. The commute, the waiting room, the meal alone, the 2 minutes before sleep, all colonized by content. And the result is not rest. The result is a kind of low-grade cognitive starvation. Neuroscience. St. Mary Helen Imordinoyong at the University of Southern California has shown that children who are given unstructured time with nothing to do show measurably stronger development in self-understanding, empathy, and moral reasoning. Children who are constantly stimulated, who have every moment filled with organized activity or passive entertainment, show deficits in exactly these areas. You are not supposed to be entertained every second of the day. Your brain is not built for that. It is built for a rhythm, engagement, then rest, then the strange, fertile wandering of genuine boredom. Remove that last stage and something goes quiet that should not go quiet. The curious thing is that boredom feels like a problem to be solved. The moment it arrives, every instinct fires at once. Fix this, fill this, make this stop. You reach for the phone without even deciding to. The gesture is automatic, faster than thought. But what if boredom is not the problem? What if boredom is the alarm that tells you the important work is about to begin? There is a concept in psychology called productive boredom. Researchers use this phrase to describe the specific mental state that occurs when external stimulation drops away and the brain begins spontaneously generating novel connections. It is uncomfortable. It is supposed to be. The discomfort is the mechanism. It is what drives you to imagine, to plan, to reach into the future and build something that does not yet exist. Every story ever told began with someone staring at a fire with nothing to do. Every invention began with a mind that had already solved all the immediate problems and started looking further. Every piece of music, every painting, every written word began in a moment when the world was quiet and your brain refused to accept the quiet. You have spent your whole life trying to escape boredom, but your ancestors spent their whole lives harnessing it. They did not have an infinite scroll to disappear in. 2, they had firelight and silence in each other, and in that silence, they invented language. They invented myth. They invented mathematics and music and medicine and agriculture and the idea of tomorrow. All of it came from the same restless itch you felt this morning when you woke up and your mind wanted more than silence. Tonight, when you feel that hollow, clawing feeling, that sense that you should be doing something, anything else, try this. Do not reach for the phone. Do not fill the gap. Just sit with it. Because for 300,000 years, that feeling was not a bug. It was the spark. And somewhere in the middle of that restlessness, in the space between boredom and whatever comes next, your ancestors built everything you have ever known. You felt it this morning. Now you know what it was for.